Hi guys, thank you for coming. Can I introduce you to Dan? Dan's going to tell you about two things. One is he can ship you his power over the network, or he can ship your power across the network. And I'd say listen, New Cross, but you could do. And then see whether you can learn a thing or two. But go on, Dan.
Thanks, Clive. Hi all, good morning. So I'm really glad to be here. It's almost having the prime slot actually. First thing in the morning, everybody's wide and awake, very excited, and me too. Cool. Can I just get a bit of sense check in the room? How many of us we are like on the, I'd say, kind of energy managers, energy engineers? Any energy managers? All energy. Yeah, right. And any non-energy? And so I know like one of the leaders, yeah. But apart from that, so it's all energy commercials. Okay, cool. So the plan for the next 30 minutes or so is that we will quickly go through a bit of market update. Some of that probably you're fully up to speed. I'm energy manager in the room, fully up to speed. But then afterwards we're going to talk about a bit more about the opportunities we can tap into. Right. So obviously you're a bit familiar with this graph, I guess. So more and more we see grid is increasingly getting decarbonized, and we are going towards 2035 carbon-free grid. So fully decarbonized by 2035. But in that journey, so now the government has said it's subject to energy security. But yeah, so we are on the right trajectory there. But as you can see, still gas plays a major role there, and then wind has picked up over the years. I mean, a lot of us are very favorable of solar, but from the whole scheme of things, solar plays a role, obviously, but from the whole scheme of things, it's actually a bit smaller compared to offshore wind, because offshore wind has been taken over the space. But also, if you have paid attention to the market more recently, we have seen more like the US have launched what they call the Inflation Reduction Act, and also the EU has done a lot of tax incentives for renewable energy. So meaning last CFD auction we didn't have offshore wind, and then also we see like a lot of wind projects are going across to the US and so on. So far we have been lucky with offshore wind, and then moving forward and watch that space. So I think we as a room we need to be focused on what we can tap into. So likes of our renewables we can do on site, like the solar. And then a quick overview on the prices. So again, I think you are a bit familiar with the prices, where the prices have gone. But I think fundamentally what you're looking at is, we are looking at, are we going to go back to the pre-COVID level prices? So maybe when you talk about prices, you talk about pence per kilowatt hour, and maybe you talk about all delivered price. So here we only talk about the wholesale price. So these are on the day-ahead market. So N2X day-ahead market, the traded wholesale electricity prices, and we'll add transmission and distribution cost added on top of that. But if you see the pre-COVID, we were around 4 pence per kilowatt hour on the wholesale price. So that's 40 pounds per megawatt hour. And then post-COVID, Russia-Ukraine war, and then we have seen huge price spikes, and then like so settled down a little bit, but now still we are at about 110 pounds per megawatt hour. So it's 10p per kilowatt hour on the wholesale price. But even if you look at the pre-COVID level, that's twice the pre-COVID levels. So again, like nobody has a crystal ball, but almost like it's for us to take a view in the market. Like, are we going to see the prices to go back to pre-COVID level? But the whole market, the wider market, we said no. We won't go back to the pre-COVID levels. The prices is settling down, but we will see prices settle down around these levels. And then a quick breakdown on the kind of like your electricity delivered price. So in there, we kind of looked at, so if you had to buy electricity on the day-ahead price, so which means that you don't secure your contracts on a 1-year contract, 2-year contract. So it's a full flex contract, if you're familiar with the term. Yeah. So if you buy energy on a flexible contract, on a flex contract, so then your commodity price is derived on market prices, and then you have your transmission distribution charges and levies added on top of that. So in there you see about half of the price is the commodity price. The other half is non-commodity price, and then the transmission, distribution, and then the levies. And then if you look at the previous years, so previous years it's been the picture has been a little bit different. So now we see a lot of, like, the post-COVID, because the power prices has gone up, so the commodity percentage has been about 50%. But actually on the pre-COVID level, that was a bit lower. It's about 30%, 40% on the commodity level. And what we can say that today's the kind of best price, the best achieved price would be about 45, 46% on the commodity price, and then the rest are non-commodity price. So here, what, like, the key point here for us is to take is that, so when we try to save our bills from electricity, so obviously, like, we need to try the usual energy triangle. So, like, energy efficiency, on-site energy, and then the off-site energy, and so on. But if you look at the bill, how we can save money from the bill, then it comes down to either we can save money on your electricity consumption, so on your wholesale price, on your commodity price, or on your non-commodity price. So then, like, this is a new graph, in the sense, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with Rego prices. Regos, yeah. So I mean, like, do you buy green electricity for your NHS trust? So then it's like green electricity from the supplier. So when the supplier gets you green electricity, so that's based on the Regos. So compared to wholesale prices, so the Rego price have been significantly lower over the past years. So the past, like, 2 years, 3 years ago, the Rego price has been 20p, 10p, so significantly lower. But what we have seen over the months is that Rego price has gone significantly up. So meaning, when you renew your electricity contract next year, if you are buying green electricity from your electricity supplier, so then this Rego price will be part of your electricity contract, and as you can see, the price have gone up. Price have gone up mainly because of two reasons. One is that UK no longer accepts the European green certificate, which known as GOOS, Guarantees of Origin, if you're familiar. So previously, if you get electricity supply from whoever the electricity supply is, they will give us green electricity, but in order to make it green, they could buy certificates from Poland, Hungary, from Romania, from any other country. They will buy the certificates from there in order to make it green. After Brexit, from 1st of April this year, government said UK no longer accepts the European green certificates, so meaning it's UK green certificates as well. So now we are in a very interesting position, because, like, if you look at everywhere, like, everybody's consuming green energy. Every household is almost consuming green energy. But if you look at the UK electricity grid consumption, like composition, is only about 50%, or like 50 or 60%. So meaning, so there's a huge demand for certificates unless you have renewable energy directly coming from the source. Yeah. So, like, one more thing to watch out for you, that those price increases. So then, more in terms of the kind of, like, longer term view of the how much capacity will be added in the grid. So obviously we see more and more green capacity would be added in the grid, but obviously all of that is subject to, I mean, like, you all know all the issues that we have with the DNOs, we have with the national grid, or the reinforcement. So these ones, based on that, there's no complication. The grid, everything is like on a happy day scenario. This is how it looks like. So in a way, the kind of picture for the future looks good. I mean, in the sense, the UK, we are going towards 2050 net zero. Obviously, we are going towards 2035 fully green grid. But obviously, on the other hand, we have two major issues. One is that we have the grid issues, and on the other side, we haven't talked. We are not covering those like talk today. But the other hand, the kind of supply chain issues. So the supply chain, in terms of the pricing, to the supply chain, etc. But still, the projection is to go up. So then, like, it all comes down to us then. So what we can do at our trust level, how we can save money, how we can get green credentials. So essentially, there are three main areas that we can do. So one, obviously, if you can do on-site energy, obviously, so that's the first thing to do. Why? Because if you do on-site energy, you will be avoiding transmission distribution cost, and also so that's I mean, as you've seen in the previous slides, about 50%, 60% of the total cost will be completely gone away. And also, if you do the capital investment from your end, so you have the higher risk, but also you can get the higher return as well from that. So the second is the private wire. Some of you might have already looked at the private wire. Again, if you do the private wire connection, if you do have a solar farm close to you, you can do the private wire through that one. So the biggest advantage is that you can obviously save transmission distribution charges. Obviously, it's a massive tick there. And then the challenge we have is that, so if you look at a NHS trust, your total capacity could be like from a trust level, you'll be on a 12 gigawatt hours per annum. If it's a bigger trust, 6-7 gigawatt hours still. So meaning at each hospital level, we need to do, if you do a 1 meg solar next to you, so 1 meg 4 acres, so you need to find 4 acres close to you, so 1 meg, and it'll give you 1 gigawatt hour total consumption, total generation. So you still have huge amount of energy that you need from outside that private wire agreement. So that's where we come to the third option. So the third option is the offsite power purchase agreements. So the people who are not familiar with the term, is a power purchase agreement. So the offset power purchase agreement, we have two options on the table. So the first option is that if one of the trusts, so let's say one of the trusts has excess power, so you have more solar, and then you're exporting that to the grid on a deemed tariff. So let's say you can get that solar exported into another trust, not on a deemed tariff, but at an increased rate. And also you can tap into other projects completely outside your estate, so bigger solar farms, bigger wind farms. And then when you tap into the projects outside you, so the biggest advantage is obviously you can cover your entire volume. So if you have 12 gigawatt hour total annual consumption, you can cover the whole amount there. The kind of limitation of the offset PPA is that you won't be able to avoid transmission distribution charges, because it'll be part of that. You'll be exposed to transmission distribution charges, but still over the long term, your price won't be subject to fossil fuel prices, and also it'll be cheaper than the market price. That's the merit that we are looking for. So obviously, why are we going for that? So one is for savings, other one is from the sustainability angle. From savings, the longer the term we can go into these agreements, more savings we can get there. So for example, if you like some of you have EPC contracts or energy performance contracts on your hospitals. So when you do EPC, you typically do the EPC for 15 years. So similarly, if you do a power purchase agreement for 10 years or 15 years, so those prices are significantly lower than the wholesale market price. So those prices, wholesale market price today, if you look at previous slide, so that's current market price yesterday, so that's at 100, 110, but that's autumn price. But when it comes to the winter price, the winter price are significantly more expensive than that one. But when you go for a PPA over the term, you have a fixed price over the term, so that's the advantage that you have. But obviously then you have the sustainability benefit on top of that, where you save your scope 3 emissions, but also remember last time we talked about all that Rego certificate based renewable energy, and here what you're talking is that so you do have Regos given to you as for free, but at the same time you're not you're not buying certificates from somebody else, so you completely avoid that greenwashing aspect. So essentially you are fully committed from the renewable energy coming from the source, and you get it across to you. So roughly how much is the the prices as such if you look at today's market? So if you go for a 10-year power purchase agreement, so the 10-year power purchase could be about 8 pence, and then 15-year power purchase agreement can be 7 7.5 pence around those prices. And then also we see obviously like the more later we get the agreement live, for example, like if it's a 2025 go live, so the prices tend to be reduced rate compared to the next year prices. So the kind of like sooner you can tap into power purchase agreement, the better savings you can make, but also like the longer you wait, there is a marginal price reduction you can see as well. Yeah. So then a quick overview on the kind of the entire PPA journey. I mean, all of you guys have done the energy performance. No, so some of you have done the energy performance contracts before, so you know it has to go through a journey. So similar to that, so PPAs are a 10-year agreement. We need to go all these stakeholders engaged from the trust and then so on. So there's a process that we need to go through, but it's a well proven process, and then kind of so people have done that. So that's why like organizations like us fully facilitate that across to you. And then what we have done is we have built a so essentially, so one of the so if you go back this slide, so one of the key challenges that you have is that let's say if you are a trust looking for renewable energy, you don't know who are the other trusts who are available to sell renewable energy, but also you don't know who are the other renewable energy projects out there. So if a corporate wants to go for a power purchase agreement, what they do is that they go for a tender round. So they go, so they contract one of the energy consultants, and then get the energy consultant to do a RFI process to go to the market to look at who are the renewable generators out there, and then they do all the due diligence of those sites, do the pricing exercise, and then afterwards contract the corporate with them. So as NHS Trust, you can also go to the same process, but the only challenge there is that it is actually costly. So if you go for a consultant to run all that PPA procurement process for you, it'll cost about 50-60K in run that process only. So what we have done is, as a business, we have done all that, like aggregated all that PPA process into a technology platform. So we use technology to drive that PPA process. So it's essentially it kind of like if you are a trust, so the trust can register your excess load to the platform, but also if you are a trust who's looking for a renewable energy, so that again through the platform you can get renewable energy. Yeah. So that's what we facilitate. So in a way, we are a PPA aggregator, so getting all the renewable energy into one place and then facilitate that procurement process for you. So a bit of a journey how that goes. Don't worry, it's only about a minute and a half, or minute actually. Yes, so essentially through the platform, what we do is we facilitate that entire PPA process, whether you are buying energy from another trust or you simply buy from a wind farm or solar farm out there. Cool. So then coming into the next one, so very quickly on the so what does this mean? I'm just checking my time quickly. Plenty of time. Yeah. So then a quick overview on like what does it mean for the greenhouse gas emissions for you. So if you, I mean, like I think most of you use the greenhouse gas emission protocol to report your emissions. If you when you report emissions through greenhouse gas emission protocol, if you're using a solar on a private wire agreement, so the private wire agreement, the scope 2 emissions are 0. So there's no, how do you say, two-way reporting on that one. Private wire, or if you have on-site energy, from renewables, that's 100% zero emissions under scope 2. If you use off-site renewable PPAs, what greenhouse gas emission protocol wants to do is that they want to do a comparison between the kind of the grid prices and against grid emissions, against the emissions that you are getting. So because of that, they want us to do the market-based greenhouse gas emission reporting. So with that means in that way it's a zero emissions, and then we need to do the location-based emissions. On the location-based emission, we'll have the grid emissions we need to report in there. So essentially, like when you do the long-term power purchase agreement, you need to report emissions in both ways, both on the market approach and in the location approach. Yes, and yeah. So then a quick how do you say, like awards that we have gone through. I mean, as a young company, so these are all important to us. And then yeah, so that's it. So that's the end of the presentation as such. But we can. So I left some 10 minutes or so, some questions as well for you guys. So because I want to have like a bit more interactive with you as well. Yeah. Yes. So the question that we had also is that, so when we share the prices earlier, when we put the prices on the slide earlier, those prices look very low. So how come the price is low? Is it because it's some random numbers, or it's actually the prices that RE24 has got? So the explanation is on twofold. So the first is that those prices are the wholesale like the wholesale equivalent prices. So if you remember the previous slides, we need to add your transmission distribution charges, and then the final consumption levy is added on top of that. So when you add on top of that, still it will come about 14p. So then the kind of like quick check for you is that you need to almost like think what's your existing electricity bill is. Is it 14p? Is it higher than that? In my gut feel is that I think it's actually significantly higher than that. So you still have savings. So the second reason, so where the prices come from. So we have about 44 generators on the marketplace already. So it's about 1,100 gigawatt hours generation in total. So the prices are based on those generators. So they are asking price. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yes, actually, so that's a fantastic question. So the question is that, I mean, like more and more we see. I mean, right now the grid has about anything from 6 to 30% gas at any time. But in the kind of UK's part to decarbonizing the grid, we are going to be decoupling gas from the electricity grid. So the question is that when the gas gets decoupled from the electricity grid, how much is that? What's the impact on the price, and then when that could happen? So the answer there is that it's I forgot it. So last year there was a consultation going on. I almost forgot the name of it. REMA. So reforms of electricity market arrangements. So there was a consultation last year going on to decide when on the decoupling phase from gas to electricity, whether we should have a separate renewable wholesale market, and then a separate gas-driven wholesale market. Because obviously, currently, what we see in the market is that the electricity price is heavily driven by gas prices. So the more the gas price, we see the more electricity price. So any decoupling would happen about 2035, and then from that time onwards, we are still waiting to hear what the government decision is on that one. So whether So whether they will have some sort of like a separate electricity markets. So one for renewable electricity, like almost like a green book, like green wholesale market, and the other one is like non-green book. But also the other point that we need to think is that, so let's say like mostly now, I mean, gas mostly runs on the peakers as well. So the base load is made by nuclear, bit of offshore wind, and so on. So gas plays that intermittency role. Like, so gas fills the gap for the intermittency role, and then provide that peak. So when the gas takes out from the peak role, we still need to have either something like hydrogen peakers or something like battery storage to fill that gap. Because obviously we can't get renewables to respond as and when we want to. Like, we all come home, turn on our kettle, and then we can't ask wind to blow at that speed, right? So it has to come from a battery, it has to come from hydrogen peakers. So those ones would have it won't be a zero marginal cost. So the renewables, what we enjoy for the moment is that it's zero marginal cost of generation. Because it's zero marginal cost of generation, so that's why the price is lower. It's essentially the cost of financing only, and in the capital cost. But in the peakers would have other prices, so hydrogen or the battery storage. Yeah. So whether the price would decrease, it's a questionable. So it is questionable, and my personal view is that I don't think prices would go back to like pre-COVID levels or anything like that, obviously. But we will see, like, we won't see the kind of last winter prices again at all. So it'll be lower than that, but still we will have a peak price, which is driven by the batteries and hydrogen peakers. Yeah. So can I take that? Yeah. Right. So the question that we had is, I'm quickly checking on time. So the question that we had is that, so what's the role that RE24 is playing? And he said, is it similar to any other supplier playing, or you are actually acting for the generator or acting for the customer? So likewise. So we are not a supplier, and we don't operate as a supplier either. So what we do is that essentially we automate the PPA buying process. So we use technology to automate the PPA buying process. So we operate under the exemption for the licensed electricity supplier. So under the exemptions, we gather all the renewable sources into one place, and then get the buyers to get the renewable directly from the source. And why it's not a conventional supply is that if you look at British Gas, EDF, etc., and actually I used to work 7 years in Centrica, and then before that NG, so come from energy background, obviously, so before RE24. So, but if you get energy from any of them, none of them would tell you where's the source, none of them will contract you directly with the source. And what we do is that we actually allow you to contract directly with the source. So you always know when you use energy, like, so that's your wind farm out there, so that's my wind farm. Yeah. Thank you very much, thanks guys.